Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Motherhood on the Move with yours truly, Brittany Nettles. This week's going to be great for two reasons. One, we're starting off this Monday with an Eagles win. Sorry, Tay. The Chiefs did not win last night, but the Eagles did. Great start to the season. Secondly, my best friend, one of my childhood best friends, Cara Riegler, is on, and I'm interviewing her about the realities of stay-at-home motherhood. It is raw, it is funny, it is deep. We always go deep. And it's honest about being a stay-at-home mom and how it is not glamorous and it is over glorified and it is equally as hard as being a working mom because you are a working mom. So we get into it and we have a really beautiful and vulnerable conversation around it all. So without further ado, welcome, Cara. Let's dive in. You want to do a little coffee
Yes,
cheers?
let's do it.
Cheers, Cara. We did it. Look at us podcasting and stuff.
Huh?
Hey, guys. Two moms on the move here.
Yeah.
We've been definitely wanting to do this for a while because you and I just have so much like offline conversation, and that's been like the topic of all of my topics so far
Yes.
is bringing the offline conversation to the online world because I feel like just so many mothers are like benefiting from it, and I feel like you just have so much sage advice and like advice that I think resonates with so many women out there, mothers or not, but especially mothers, and there's so much value you can add. So thank you for being here. I'm so
Well, thank you
excited.
for having
Yeah.
me.
And I
I'm so
feel
happy to be here and so proud of you. And Ashley and I, our little granny group,
oh
we always talk about how we feel like if we just put a microphone in the middle of the
my
table
God,
at
ain't that
all of
the
our
truth?
granny meetups, that it would just be a golden podcast episode because it's just so real and you don't have that energy of feeling like someone's watching you. So you're more in the state of like, these are the people that see me, that
Mm-hmm.
hear me, that love me. So I feel like if it wasn't for who you are, I could never reach those natural flow states. Like
Oh.
you allow me to activate the wisdom in me that lives and breathes in there
Mm-hmm.
when in a lot of moments, if I'm just meeting a mom or just getting to know somebody,
Mm-hmm.
I kind of get clammed up naturally, because I'm like, I want to make them comfortable and I tune into other people's energy. So
Mm-hmm.
you allow me to be me, which allows that to come
Mm-hmm.
out. So I'm happy to be here with you.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I don't know why that just made it sound. Was that mine?
That was mine.
Oh, that was your okay.
Mom
That's
like,
fine.
yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, look for you.
Yes,
I was like,
exactly.
do not disturb. Damn you, technology.
Yes, yes.
No, I appreciate that. And that's it, right? Finding the,
Mhm.
the the proverbial tribe, right?
Yeah,
Like we found it and finding the people who can allow you to take your mask off and just show up truly as you are. I've exhausted that, but it's just
yes,
such an important element of our lives and a pillar of our lives because I feel like it just makes us more authentically us. And that's like
exactly.
that's what it's about.
It's so funny you said that because I have been really tapping into lately my energy, and everyone's watched that Taylor Swift and, Travis Kelce video, their podcast of where she has one line where she says, "Your energy, like, treat it like it's, like, the most," I'm gonna not say this word for word, but basically how important your energy is, and
Mhm.
that you need to look at it as if, like, you need to protect it and give it to those who really deserve it because it's just such a powerful thing that belongs to
Mhm.
you. And I think being a mom and what we're saying with taking our masks off has made me realize that I need to devote my time and my energy to places where the mask doesn't have to be on.
Mhm.
Because being with three little children all day and having to not perform, but just be in tune with three other bodies and three other needs. If I go out to the world and have to be in a place where now mask has to go on, I'm not fully comfortable.
Mhm.
I'm never giving myself that time to fully step into me and receive what I need. And then I go back home and I'm like, well, that wasn't rejuvenating because now I had to go out into the world with a mask on and I felt
Mhm.
like I was just even more depleted. So I feel like what we're talking about and having these friendships is so valuable for moms who are in situations where they're constantly giving and they need that space to just breathe and be and let themselves flow.
Mhm.
So then they can receive some of that nourishment back, you
Yeah.
know?
No, it's so true. And I think without making this a whole like therapy
Yes,
episode
that's
and
right.
like childhood
Because we tend to do
trauma,
that.
yeah. But I think two things. One, you've already mentioned how absorbent we are, like
Mm,
especially as water signs, Cancer women, right? Like
yes.
we absorb the energies around us and like there's some energy vampires out there.
Mhm.
And some energy vampires, you don't get to choose because
Yeah.
unfortunately, let's call, it family,
Yeah.
sorry. But I think some family members, but then, yeah, definitely the people out there in the world, whether they're friends or just strangers, like, it's just so important to kind of, suss that out and suss that out quickly so you can protect yourself. But also, we're working so hard to undo a lot of trauma that we
Mhm.
had and undo a lot of habits that we've had as teenagers, specifically you and we spent so much time talking about that, but like people pleasing, right? And we wanted to
Yes. People
morph
pleasing.
ourselves and fit into this box, and we joke about the cool girls, the popular girls in high school, and we're like, what even? Why did we want to be like that? Because like we were so cool all along, but we like were striving to be people we weren't. And when you carry that into adulthood, that just makes it far more challenging. And you're like, wait, no, I've spent so many years trying to undo this. And why am I here
Mhm.
again? So, at least having the ability to check in with yourself and say, this isn't me, these are not my people,
Yeah.
and like move on, one that gives you so much power and that makes you so invincible
Yes.
and invincible for your kids. So now when you went out, you were with people who truly pour
Yep.
into and fill your cup. And now you do have the restored energy to go home and be with your kids because that there's so much output there that I never truly appreciated until I became a mom.
100%. And I feel like I love you bringing that up because often I feel like it took me a while to really learn when I put myself in moments where I was people pleasing. I mean, I had Nathan in 2020 and then Luke in 2022 and then Jacob in 2024. So I feel like they all kind of came crashing in really close
Mhm,
together. And through each of them, just weaving in and out, I recognized that I would put myself in situations where I would still continue these people pleasing patterns. And I would reflect on what you're saying, like how I was in high school and just trying to be this version of myself to fit the mold of everybody else, just so I could stay safe and felt like I belonged in a world that
mhm,
honestly sometimes felt overwhelming to me because I could feel so much.
mhm.
And what I'm trying to say is I think that having those lessons and experiences with the contrast of like saying to myself, "Oh my gosh, time and time again, I could see I'm going into these people pleasing scenarios." And then now kind of like working to get myself out of those situations and learning how to really embody protecting my peace and
Mhm.
inserting those boundaries. All of that, even when I got off track, serves so much because I feel like now in real time, when I see Nathan and Luke and Jacob making those same
Now
decisions,
you
just
have those
because
tools
I
that you
have those
can
tools to
lend to them.
exactly
Mhm,
by the actual experience and by it being able to like just validate how easy it is to get caught up in those patterns because we just want to belong. Like we
mhm.
just want to feel safe no matter where we are because we are so vulnerable because we can feel so much.
Yeah, and it's
So,
such an innate thing. I mean,
yeah.
everybody does it. Everybody wants to feel included. Everybody wants to belong. It's so deeply embedded in all of us as humans, right? Like
Yes.
literally finding your tribe,
Yeah.
want to find your village.
Yep.
And, kids have to go through it, but if you
Mhm.
can help them identify and just give them the tools in your toolbox, everybody wins.
Exactly.
Especially if you're coming from, again, going through the, the topic of potential therapy conversation, but it's
Mhm.
if you're trying to like please your parents too, that's such
Yeah.
a deep one. And
Oh,
yeah.
that's huge.
Mhm.
Right, where
Like,
you
if
just
our
yep.
kids don't have to do that for us the way that we did for our parents, it's
Exactly.
boom, you're already, like, helping
Yes.
them.
Yes, and it takes us, like, doing the work that allows that to even become a
Mhm.
possibility for them, because otherwise, I mean, it's just so funny being a human. Because I think throughout this journey, I recognize how many times I've got caught up in, like, thinking I have the answer,
Mm.
and then I kinda realize, "Oh, ego insertion, like,
You're like, "Nope.
I don't have the answer.
Mm-mm."
I'm not supposed to attach to these new findings
Mhm.
to then feel like, 'Oh, I figured out the magic solution and I belong.'" It's like, that comes from such an
Yeah.
icky place of, like, then you still try to tell your kids and, like, give advice even in moments when they're not really ready to receive it, and then they are kinda taking it like, "Oh, mom never gets me. She's always just trying to tell
Mhm.
me things, and I don't really understand that quite yet." So I feel
Yeah.
like journeying through the unhealed parts, breaking these patterns has allowed me to see all of it and see just our human nature
Mhm.
and where we go to find attachments to feel more whole. Like
Yeah.
whether we put our identity into I'm a stay-at-home mom and that is the best choice because my baby's getting everything they need and me all the time. And it's like, okay, if that works for you and you're feeling whole, then that's amazing.
Great.
But let's not make it icky. Let's
Mhm.
make it like, and whatever anyone else chooses for their wholeness is also just as important and just as valuable,
Yeah.
not one or the other.
And valid.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
So I think that's a great like transition point. And the reason why I wanted to have you on today is because I think you are such a great example of stay-at-home motherhood and the trials and tribulations of that,
Mhm,
but also changing your mind and
mhm,
deciding, "I'm ready to go back into the workspace," and figuring out truly what that looks like, and not just in a traditional way,
right.
but the way that you so beautifully found your new position. I think it really embodies the inner work that you've done,
Mhm.
and it's attracted the people that you want to work alongside and be nourished by and be led by and work alongside. And I think, you start next week, so it couldn't have been like more perfect timing.
And
But
thank you. I love you so much
oh,
for seeing that and
yeah.
saying that because that is exactly it. And just
I
having
could
you,
cry. Yeah, I'm so
having you
excited for
reflect that
you.
back
Yeah.
to me,
I'm
it's
so
just it's
proud of
so
you.
beautiful
Yeah.
because I'm like you just articulated that perfectly. Like, thank you for seeing me and saying that. I love you so
Yeah, you're welcome.
much.
I'm like, what?
Yeah, I
That's so
know.
sweet. I don't
I'm
know.
like, oh,
I'm like, look at my friends doing
yeah.
really cool things. Like, go ahead, girl. I'm so
Exactly.
proud of
You
you.
too. Even with this is just so it feels so good to see us
Oh,
do the things that we know are meant for us based on how hard we worked to get to
yeah.
this point.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, and I thank you,
yeah.
and
Uh-huh.
I'm very proud of us, and I just thinking about, like, where we were versus where we are now, to your point earlier, it's all dynamic.
Yeah.
We are just figuring it out, and I'm, like, up and down with what I wanna do and who I wanna be when I grow up every day. I mean, anybody who tells you they have it figured out is a bold-faced liar.
Oh,
Like,
totally.
you
It's
know?
we are just and I love this because it's all weaving together so beautifully with all the things I've seen. But I yesterday just saw it said, do not forget that even though you're a mom, this is the first time you're in your 30s too. Like
Mhm.
we are still growing and evolving and having to be so nice and gentle with ourselves because we don't know what the hell's going on. Like
Yeah,
this
we're
is the
still
first
figuring
time
it
we're figuring out
ourselves.
this
Yeah.
exactly this new stage of life, this new development and we that we have in our brain, this
Mhm.
new time that we live in, all of it is so new to us. And just kind of seeing us in that light of like, hey, we're kind of like a little kid too, just
We're,
figuring
like,
this out for the first
confused. We're,
exactly
like,
right. We do not
blissfully confused,
blissfully
and it's,
confused.
like,
And yes,
just sitting
exactly.
in the confusion and
Mhm.
marinating in it, and I think it's just the most hilarious thing, but you're right, navigating marriage and parenthood and motherhood and friendships and professions, and I think
Yes.
marrying them all and figuring out how to harmoniously marry them all is
Mhm.
just probably the most challenging thing you'll ever do.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes we get so stuck on like the harmony itself that we forget that all the work to find the harmony is the real work.
Yeah.
And like we're constantly going to be bumping and
Yep.
doing a tug and pull because life is just learning all of that. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm out of balance. How can we reel it back in? And then we go out of balance this way. And we're always
Yeah.
on a pendulum swing, but it's
Mhm.
all serving.
Yeah,
So
and and I promise we'll get into the question soon. I
yeah.
feel like we'll talk
No,
for like
we're
6
this is we're
hours.
going with
I know,
it.
but I'm such a big proponent of rupturing and reflecting. Rupturing,
Mhm.
repairing, and
Oh, I
reflecting,
love
and I
that.
think yeah, I got that from who did I get that from? I think it was, like, a Mel Robbins podcast,
Because my life
someone
is one big rupture sometimes, I
and
feel like,
Dr.
so
Becky and, like, all of
yes.
our idols out there, and rupturing, repairing, and reflecting. I think whether I'm talking about friendships or
Mhm,
my romantic relationships or my family relationships, you rupture, you have an issue,
mhm.
or even with yourself, you
Yeah,
work to repair it, and then you reflect and you move on, and I think that is what makes something so genuinely pure
yeah.
and meaningful at the end of the day,
Mhm.
and also worthwhile,
Yeah.
because I think about some of my most important friendships, and I'm like, even me and you, we've been through it.
Mhm.
We literally have grown up together. It's
Yeah.
like we've seen so many chapters of each other's lives and versions of each other. And we're just like, hey, we're here. And sometimes we butt heads too, right?
Mhm.
Like everybody
Exactly.
literally does it.
Yep.
But the fact that we still show up and say, hey, we might have our differences, or hey, let's talk about it, and we work through it and we move on, that makes me love you more.
Yes, I
Right?
completely
Yeah.
because then it creates a wholeness in the relationship.
And
That
it's a
creates like
respect.
it's a
Yeah.
complete respect. It's 2 parties taking accountability, 2 parties meeting halfway,
Hmm.
and just being able to be like, "Okay, here's what's going on. Let's figure out a way to move
Hmm.
forward in a way that benefits the both of us."
Yeah.
And then
Or,
it keeps the relationship clean and airy and full of fun and joy because
hmm,
we can't have all the lovey-dovey stuff without having the stuff
yeah.
that gets
Frankly, that's
yeah,
boring.
exactly. It's so boring
I'm
and it's
like,
not
this
real.
is stale.
And then we just
I'm
feel like
bored.
we're just again, the mask gets put back on because we're only showing one side of ourselves. So just
Yeah.
having the whole relationship with the rupture, with the repair, I think all of it deserves so much credit because we're here for learning anyway, you know?
Mhm.
And that's why, like, I love to look at life in that way, and it makes me step out of the human experience that sometimes when we are in those really, like, crummy places where we're
Mhm.
kind of like we're feeling stuck or we're feeling lost or we're in the middle of a transition and getting ready to make a decision, but we're not quite sure if that's the
Mhm.
right decision. And we're like, oh, what do I do? Like those places, I've realized when I start to think like that and get really hyper focused on it, I'm like, oh, I'm just a human and I'm gonna figure this out and this can just be fun. Like
Like, it's
I
not.
don't have to look at it this way. I can look at it like, I don't know right now.
Yeah.
Let me go do something fun.
Yeah.
And then we'll come back to this, you
Yeah.
know?
My favorite saying that I've embraced is, "It's not that deep."
Yeah,
Like, it's
right.
really not
Because
that
it
deep.
feels so deep to
Yeah.
me being a Cancer. I used to think everything, and not to like, I'm not even like, I love astrology, but I'm not like, oh,
No. I'm not like
but
full moon.
I'm very much, oh God, like deep, deep, deep feeler. And I had to really recognize, okay, boundaries with yourself, Cara. Like you can't always be in these tides
Mhm.
of like emotion. Like there's an end point. Like
Yep.
let's just not stay stuck in the, deep end
You're like,
here.
"Turn it off."
Come up for water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Turn it
Have a
off.
drink.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Ain't that the truth?
yeah.
So I feel like we've learned a few things about you already,
Yes.
but tell me about you. What should everyone know about Cara Riegler besides being my bestie?
I guess that Cara Riegler is just like everyone else,
Mhm.
just like I'm just in a stage of life where I'm doing a lot to really learn about myself and take
Mhm.
care of myself. I think so. I'm a stay at home mom. I have three little boys at home, all under the age of 5. And I love them so much, which I know we don't have to even say anymore because we're getting so much more confident as mothers to just
Mhm.
say, hey, I also got to focus on me. But I do, motherhood has been such an interesting part of the person I've always thought I was because prior to being a mother, I worked with kids. I was a teacher. So I think I put a lot of my drive and assertion and growth in life towards like, I want to be the best teacher I can be. I want to understand child development and psychology. I really want to go deep and understand the nitty gritty because there's a part of me that when I was a kid, I was always absorbing other people just naturally. There was nothing my parents could have done to stop that.
Mhm.
There was nothing my friends could have done. That's just kind of who I noticed I was as a kid. And I would kind of clam up or get shy when I could just feel like there wasn't a vibe or frequency there, which
Mhm.
there's nothing wrong with. But as a kid and like you're when you're little, you're just beginning this journey of life and you don't know that it's okay to feel uncomfortable yet. You have to learn that as you grow up. So anyway, because of how I was so sensitive as a kid, my drive has always been towards teaching, relating to children. I've always felt so comfortable around them because they are so authentic in who they are. They'll walk around with a popsicle dripping on their bellies and like
That ain't my
running
son.
down the slip and slide. And oh my gosh, like their energy to me, just seeing them so on their own and so blissfully engaged in life, it's always my greatest teacher. If I could, I would be a little kid forever
Mhm.
and just say, fuck everything else. I don't care what anyone thinks. I don't care where I have to be. I just want to be in the
Mhm.
moment. So that's been my drive to really understand the psychology of humans, to relate to little children. And then COVID happened, 2020. I was pregnant, getting ready to have Nathan, gave birth to Nathan, and I decided, you know what? Instead of going back to work, I'll be with kids all
Mhm.
day anyway. Let me be home with mine.
Mhm.
Ugh, and then I feel like then all those things turned upside down, and I got to see another side of just the human experience of life. It's not all this blissed out state that I kept projecting onto kids. It's so much deeper than that. There's a lot of chaos and tantrums and
Mhm.
oh, it's just things that pop up for children. Like they may like all different personalities, different temperaments, um,
They have all of the emotions and none of the skills.
all the emotions,
Mhm.
all the skills. And then also at the same time, like, I was so hyper focused on who I was as a kid and how much I love life. And then seeing Nathan kind of be the same way. But then I had Luke and then I had Jacob. They operate totally different than that.
Mhm.
Luke is a little more like, I'm more strong-willed, stubborn, closed off. I only give you my energy if I feel safe enough to do so. I'm not gonna be all in on life and
Mhm.
I'm gonna be stubborn about it. Like, so I feel like even kind of working with those personality types was hard for me because I recognized, oh my gosh, so much of my identity I was pouring into them and labeling them. And I had to deconstruct so much of all those layers that I put on myself to be like, okay, how do I genuinely meet each kid for each of their unique personalities and also like take accountability for the parts of myself that created false expectations of what this should be.
Mm.
So I feel like that's in a nutshell who I am, what I'm journeying
And where
through
you're
right
at.
now, where I'm
Yeah.
at now.
Yeah.
It's just a deconstruction and a rupture of kind of like everything that I hyped up to be one way that I'm kind of sorting through and trying to be very much more grounded in reality and realistic about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think everything you said, right, makes perfect sense because I think, especially in the age of social media, there's such a glorified version of stay-at-home motherhood, and that's, again, why I wanted to have you on because I think you have such a realistic view of it now that you've, like, gone through it, and even you stumbled and fumbled through the glorified version of stay-at-home
Yeah.
motherhood, right? You
Yep.
said you thought it was going to be one way, and it was a complete mess, right? And
100%.
still in a beautiful way, and I don't mean to put, like, an optimistic spin on it, but you earnest it, and you were like, "I need to work through some things, and I also need to accept my kids are who they are, and I cannot
Yes.
change them, and I'm here to keep them safe, foster a growing environment for them, and let them be kids, but I also
Exactly.
need to."
But not put a label on what it means to
Mhm.
be a kid, to not put a label on what it means to be a mom, to not
Yeah.
to literally I loved your one of your episodes, like the fuck the boxes thing.
Mhm.
That couldn't be more encompassing of the realizations I'm having.
Mhm.
Exactly. Like I feel I feel so strongly that being a stay-at-home mom, being a working mom, being whatever path you choose, mom, it's not about glorifying any of it.
Mhm.
It's about saying life, no matter what, is going to be filled with complete and utter mess and complete and utter ecstasy. And those two worlds are always going to be swimming and making a whirlpool.
Mhm.
And I think for me, I had each kid so close too. So I feel like also being a stay-at-home mom, like you may be a stay-at-home mom and choose to only have one kid and wait till they're 6 or 7 for the next
Mhm.
kid. Or so it's like you can't even put labels on that experience because someone may have an experience in motherhood where they're like, I have a 6-year-old daughter, and her and I have a routine together. I get to make homemade food every day. We get to have this little time to just really bond and engage with each other. And they may come out of this experience saying, like, I'm really enjoying this time. I'm really getting to know who my daughter is. I'm slowing down. I'm making homemade meals. I feel very much balanced.
Mhm.
Or then you have a mother that has 3 kids, or you have a single mother, or you have a mother with a child that has autism,
Mhm.
or like medical problems. Maybe your child's going through like an autoimmune issue.
Yeah.
Like there's just
It's so
so many
unpredictable, and there's so
experiences
many versions, yeah.
that it's like you just simply cannot we cannot use social media and see these reels and these videos of like what someone's saying and take it all verbatim as like this is the answer, this is the
Yeah,
path. It's
and
like,
I'm failing as a mother if
yeah,
I'm not fitting myself into that
exactly.
mold and what I
Yes.
think it should be. There's so much
Right.
projection that happens,
Yes.
and I think it's really unfortunate because it puts mothers in such a bad headspace. I
There
mean, I had to
so much.
like, because of women like you, I have like, you've been a role model as a mom to me because you've been so incredibly and deeply raw about
Mhm.
it, and I think me entering motherhood, I was able to like disassemble my and dismantle my expectations
Mhm.
very early on and just kind of go with the flow and say,
Yeah.
check in with myself, check in with my husband. Nick's been, an incredibly, helpful part
Mhm.
of my journey, especially as like a working mother and mother who's just frankly figuring it out.
Yeah.
But also women like you. Like I was able to let my hair down and say, this is okay. I'm not failing. I
Good.
am moving forward and my kid is okay. And I think society just places unrealistic expectations on mothers, and in turn, we absorb that, right?
Well, and today too, like we're living in a time where we have lots of content creators.
Mm.
You know, our
And their
our
shiny
media
Amazon cup
exactly,
and
yeah.
slowness in the morning. It's like you don't show
Yes.
what's happening
Or,
behind the scenes.
even like you just take it from every extreme. The super holistic mom who gets to enjoy like the sunshine and hear the birds and you see the kids playing in the mud. But you know what you don't see? Like them trying to shove them under each other's mouths and
Yeah.
pull each other's hair. Like we skip all the mess,
Yeah.
right? So
Like,
we're
I'm
just
sorry, I love Ballerina
yeah.
Farm. Do you follow her? Oh my god,
No.
I love Ballerina
Yeah.
Farm. Shout out to her. She's truly my
Yeah.
idol, but I'm like, I would love to see the behind the scenes. There is no way I'm making hamburger buns from scratch and
No.
feeding my pigs and also making, like,
That's what
protein
I
powder
mean.
and just doing it all and running a business, and I'm like, I would love to see the behind the scenes, and I would also love to see how much help he has.
Right, and I think a part of what I recognize is, like, I would live my daily, like, life and my expectations up to those standards for so long, and I think it takes maturing, and I think it takes getting so radically self-loving and confident in yourself to, like, take steps back and to say, like, "This is not my path. What are my strengths here? What is the most important?" And, like, tugging your hand back on your heart every day and being like, "Deep breath.
Mhm,
That's not reality right now. Let's look at what
mhm,
is in front of us and do the best we can with that."
yeah,
And I feel like that has even just that shift alone, I notice like my kids see it. Like they see the deep breath. They see me working through something. And then we wind up after I recognize, okay, I'm in a storm mentally. I'm coming out of it. Those are the moments that we sink deeper into the present and have like the best day, even when I feel like things aren't looking as good as they should
yeah.
on paper or on video. Like if you came into my house, you may be like, this looks like an utter hot mess, or like,
Oh my god, are you
you
kidding me?
know,
We love Cara's
like,
cottage.
yeah, yeah. But then it's like, but how are we feeling? And I think I recognize that it's more important how we're feeling versus how any of it looks.
Yeah,
Like, what's our quality of life on the inside versus like
mhm. The
looking at,
optics.
yeah, and
Yeah,
looking at the outer experience too much and analyzing it so much and just,
mhm.
like I think sometimes if I'm like, okay, I'm making pancakes for breakfast and then Nathan, like, doesn't really wanna watch the show anymore that's on, but so then he starts throwing pillows at Luke, and then Luke's screaming my name and saying, "Mommy, mommy, mommy," and like, "Help me, Nathan won't stop." And the baby's all of a sudden crying and trying to climb up the chair, and I'm like, "Okay, 2 seconds ago, I was literally just making a pancake, the baby was playing on the floor beautifully, the kids were watching a
And it
show,
turns on you in a moment.
seconds, chaos," and then I'm like, what I really wanna do is be like, "Ah!" and like, and I have to take, like, and then I think to myself, I notice my brain going like, "Oh my gosh, I'm not doing this right." Maybe it's the scream time, maybe I'm not paying attention to the baby enough, like, when your brain starts to kick on, like, all the reasons, like,
Yeah,
that it's your fault that the chaos is
the
happening,
self-blame.
the
Mhm.
self-blame, so then I'm, like, having to be like, "Okay, no, 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 I'm getting in
Redirect,
self-blame
yeah.
brain,
Mhm,
redirect, take a deep breath, turn off the burner, go
mhm.
into the living room, and I'm a mommy monster now. Ah! And now everybody's in the state of play and
Mhm.
joy, and Jacob's crawling over. No more is he like
You're
crying,
redirecting everyone.
redirecting everyone because we, as the parents and the moms, are
That's our job.
taking the accountability to redirect ourselves and say, like, screw all of these shoulds. Like,
Mhm.
we can't screw all of what we think we need to be doing or what everyone's telling us is the right path. And like being like, love yourself, come back to yourself, make decisions from loving yourself, knowing you're doing the best you
Mm.
can in every moment, no matter how it looks, you're trying your best.
Yeah.
Self love, I feel, is like the best medicine for navigating anything with young kids.
Compassion. Give yourself a
Yes,
little compassion that
exactly.
you extend to everyone else. And I think
Yes.
2 things. One, my therapist used to say, "Stop shoulding all over
Mm
yourself."
hmm. Mm hmm.
And ain't that like the funniest thing ever to
Yes.
both say and just keep in mind?
Mm hmm.
But also, I think the most important thing that we can do is learn to self-regulate and teaching our kids how to self-regulate. And that instead of I grew up in a kind of explosive environment, and I am the furthest thing from explosive.
Mm
And
hmm.
I think it's because I've just done a good job of learning to self-regulate. And I
Yeah.
would love to teach my kid that as well. But our kids absorb our energies the way that
Yes.
we absorb everyone else's. Like they're just little sponges and they
Yes.
absorb and they watch and they observe. And I mean, I had somebody, we were just in the Finger Lakes last weekend and we were on a roof deck and a brewery situation. And
Mm
someone came up and just said how observant my son was.
hmm.
And I said, wow, somebody else sees that, but I see that too. And I don't ever know if that's just me being like, wow, look at my kid. He's so observant, right?
Right.
But like, no, he
No.
was genuinely
Yep.
observant. But it was just a reminder for me, like, kids watch everyone and
Everyone.
everything, and, like,
Yes.
it's just that's why you have to be so mindful, right?
Right, and I also just
And
want to say,
practice.
yep, and I just want to say, so this is known too. I know that I had that great solution recently of the mommy monster thing, but I have actually been a mommy monster. I have
Yeah.
yelled, I have screamed. My kids have seen me in situations where I was not making those
Mhm.
regulated choices, where I was not my best self, and it's pretty cool because I today sit here and I'm so grateful for all of those moments, no matter what, and all the times that I had extreme mom guilt that was paralyzing me. I would lay in bed at night and cry because there were days, especially welcoming number 3, where it got too chaotic for my system, and I was not the best version of myself in front of
Mhm,
my kids at all. I would ask for support and help, which I feel like a lot of stay-at-home moms can relate to this, so I'm glad we're kinda gonna go into this little aspect for a second because I feel this is very
mhm.
important. One of the hardest things of being a stay-at-home mom is witnessing how unwell you are and seeing that support is so minimal because everyone's working.
Mm,
So you're fucked in situations where you're like,
and you feel like you're inconveniencing anyone if you, like, ask for help.
yes, and sometimes when you do, because, we're kinda like the first generation that's understanding the vital importance of mental health.
Mhm,
But sometimes if you call on certain generations, they're not gonna see it the same way we understand it. So then you kinda are like, "Ew," like, "All right, I gotta find the right support right now, and that's not gonna happen for me today." So what is support going to look like for me today when I can see I am not mentally going to reach the best version of myself? Does it look like TV all day? Does it look like, calling a friend to come over when as soon as they can? And it's
mhm.
like, "Hey, I know it's your busy day, but, like, I today's, like, a day where I really just need
She
someone. I
just sit
need."
outside with you in my
Yeah,
Adirondack chair and, like, sit in the
exactly.
sun and
And
watch our
how
kids
many
be
times
feral.
or, like, "I need to get out and come to you. Do you have,
Yes.
like, a half hour today where you can fit me in? Like, I can just cry or vent,"
Mm,
or, like, it's when finally someone husband comes to through the door home from work, you just hop right in the bath or hop right in the shower or go to sleep with your newborn baby.
mhm,
It's like, there's so many times where I feel like when you are staying at home, I think what has hurt me and got me tripped up in so much self-blame is, like, I have the tools. I see where I'm at today, and I know it's not going to go the way I would like, and I love my kids so much, and I know where I'm at, and I know that they're not going to get the best mom they deserve today.
mhm,
And then sitting with all of that, and for so long, I would put, like, a dark cloud over it and beat myself up, where now I'm like, "No, what all that needs is so much compassion."
mhm.
And, like, for the kids, like, if we do cause scars and we do cause wounding, like we love Dr. Becky, thank God we have the tools to know how to repair when we rupture, but also their little brains may not be able to comprehend or talk about it. So later in life, we will be that generation that's like open to hear, hey, okay, I hear how that experience made you feel now that you have the tools to express it.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it. I'm here. And then one day, when they age more, hopefully they have the understanding of like, "Oh, man, mommy had 3 kids under 5, and that's probably what she was probably so tired that day." Like, it
Mhm.
creates a beautiful cycle of understanding for us all, and
Yeah.
so I think I had to give myself so much love because it is hard hearing the Dr. Beckys, and it is hard hearing these amazing psychologists who know so much and then seeing yourself and you're like, well, I didn't do that today. I kind of went into old school parenting today. And then not letting yourself be paralyzed with guilt, even if you did make those choices,
Mhm.
trying to see yourself as someone that always deserves grace no matter what, and always deserves forgiveness no matter what, because this is only temporary.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I think you and I talk about the idea of duality, right? And
Yes.
like two things can coexist. And
Yes.
you're saying, hey, I'm not showing up as the best version of myself.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
not but, and I
Mhm.
still love my kids.
Yeah.
I still love them deeply.
So much.
Yeah,
It's like,
so much, like, I look at my
oh,
son and I just, like I tear up because I'm like, I didn't know, like, how deeply I could love something.
oh, it's like, it's a love that hurts
It
so much
brings
that
up
it hurts.
yeah, you look at their, like, pure little
Oh,
innocent souls, and you're like, "How am I responsible for this thing?" Right?
yes.
And I think too, giving yourself some, like, grace and kind of approaching it with levity, while we are always going to be available for our kids, supportive of our kids, and, show up as mommy monster sometimes, I think, 1, it's so important to just show up naturally
Yep.
and say,
Authentically,
"Hey,
genuinely.
I did have an explosive
Yep.
moment and I popped my top, I flipped my
Yeah.
shit,
Yep.
but I'm sorry, I had a moment of anger or
Mhm.
upset or,
Yep.
whatever. I got really pissed off by that thing." Use bold language, right?
Yes.
And I'm sorry.
Yep.
And that's okay. And I
Mhm.
ruptured, right? Now let's repair. And I think just showing that and modeling that for our kids is, like, truly the most important thing that you could do, but also, like, the levity piece is I heard somewhere, I don't remember, but you're gonna, like, screw your kid up some way. Like, you're
Mhm.
not, like, truly gonna
There's
screw 'em up,
no
but there's gonna be
way.
something that they need to heal from. Like, there's just no linear perfect parenting. Like, there's gonna be something that they're gonna, like,
No.
resent you for or
And
say
that
that you got wrong. That's
yeah.
really what I'm trying to say, and you're like, "Well, I tried my best, and I used my resources that I had in that moment because maybe I was doing it alone,
Yeah,
or maybe I was raising 3 under 5,
yeah,
or maybe I was, I don't know, just working through it." I don't know what
yeah.
that may be. There's all kinds of versions of parenthood.
And holding and then letting them work through that and hold like, this is what's so beautiful about it is, like, because look, like, now I can see, well, I am resilient.
Mm,
I got through that. And I know
mhm,
I hold what you need to heal. I hear you. And I know that you're resilient and you're going to work through that.
mhm.
And like just instill, like kind of putting like all that confidence that you had to put through yourself during those hard times, like right back into your child, even when they don't want to hear it, just saying to yourself as the mother, like, okay, here's where they're at. I got through this, I know they will too.
Yep.
You know, this is their journey. And I think it's kind of all perfect when you really step outside, and that's where the gratitude comes in. And
Mhm.
I wanted to say too, like you mentioned earlier, how much you benefited from hearing my experience. And I just want to say, because you grew into your 30s and you were getting closer and then like you welcomed Teddy at a more mature point than I was when I had
Mhm.
Nathan, you also had a lot to offer me that I kind of missed
Aw.
because of having kids. Like you and Leanna and Ashley were such core teachers in helping me understand what it means to even set boundaries with my kids for my own peace. Like even being like, you know, mommy is shutting the door and locking the door. I need to use the bathroom right now. I need a minute. I need a minute
Mhm.
and you will be okay. Where before I didn't have that naturally. I kind of just more like, oh, wanted to give them all the love. And I think what I realized so much more is like my love for myself comes first. Then I can give it back to you. And I think you've done a great job at helping me learn that, like
Mhm.
just through all the experiences you've had in your life and getting yourself to the point that you did before becoming a mom. I would watch you and I would be like, damn, like Brittany knows so much that I maybe haven't even really integrated it myself yet because I had to work through so many layers of insecurity and guilt, you know? So I also feel like you being who you are and showing up as you do each day is medicine for me too. I don't think it even matters how much experience we have as moms. It's like when you
It's
look
irrelevant.
outside, oh, there's so many lessons for us to learn with the people in front of us
Yeah,
about ourselves. So,
and that's why
yeah.
thank you, like,
Yeah.
deeply, and I think, like, there's just so many like, there's so many moms out there who are curious about, like, the day to day, right? And that's, like, what we're here to share and live unapologetically, right?
Mhm.
And say, "Hey, I showed up and I fucked up and,
Yes.
still moved on."
Mhm.
And I think, like, a few moms have asked me, like, "Hey, can you just share, like, a day in your life? Because 'Cause I'm just so curious. Like, how do you do it all, or where have you been? What and how did you learn, all the things that you know today?" And I think just us all pulling back the curtain on,
Mhm.
like, our lives and our challenges and our
Yes.
adversities and our
Mhm.
growth moments and our gratitude and our clarities,
Yeah.
right? Like, I think it's
Yes.
just so I saw that you were reading today. I think it's just so helpful because
So
we just
helpful.
none of us are this isn't like this is all of our first rodeos,
Uh-huh.
but there's people who have come before us, so
Mhm.
it's either we're getting taught it or we're getting taught by the women alongside us, right?
Yeah.
If you don't have the people who are maybe bestowing that wisdom, like from parents or grandparents or whomever it might be, you might be learning directly from your friends, and I think that is, like, just so cool.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
and I think too, like taking I feel like at this time, especially now, like with how much we absorb, how much we see, all
Mhm.
the advice we can get, the beautiful psychologists that are out there, these amazing minds, our friends, hearing each other's stories. I think what the gift is at this time is recognizing, okay, we can take what resonates and leave what doesn't.
Yeah.
So like even if like we're getting advice from someone, if like something within us says like this doesn't feel right, we can be like, okay, that was interesting.
Mhm.
And then lean into when like we hear someone speak our language speak our
Language.
language,
Mhm.
and we recognize, like, our hearts feel it, and, like, you just
Mhm.
feel that oomph of, like, "Yes, this makes sense to me," and then we know, like, "Okay, this is the direction I'm going in," because all of our kids and lives are shaped so differently, so I feel like tuning in to what resonates and what doesn't is also so helpful for mothers because if something doesn't feel right for your life, you can just, "Okay, that
Change
doesn't
it.
feel right for me. Yep,
Change it
yep.
like
I don't
anything.
I don't need that advice because here's the direction that makes sense for me and my family."
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%. There's so much information out there, and it's up to us to distill it and take what we need and say, "Oh, well, that works," or
Yep,
"That doesn't, and
yep,
let's try something new."
exactly.
What is the biggest misconception about being a stay-at-home mom that you see?
Okay, so this was a really and this is so funny. I have my little notes here because I know sometimes when I'm asked things on the spot, I will like get fixated on like a blank space in my brain. The biggest misconception in motherhood, I think it goes back to kind of like all the things we were saying in the beginning of the way it's supposed to look and the boxes. And when you're at home, I think a lot of people think, "Oh, I wish I could be home all day." Like, if you are going to work, you only know your reality. Like, we only know the reality we're existing in, right?
Mhm.
Which is nobody's fault. It's just how humans work. So if you're getting up every day, you're packing your kids up, you're getting them dressed. First of all, working moms, I can't even imagine getting all these kids out the door. You got to get out the door, get on time. You have your own deadline, your own world outside of this little
Mhm.
experience. And you still have to get these kids where they need
You
to
have
be.
2 sets of big, big, big
Yes.
responsibilities.
Yes,
Yeah.
and kids may wake up with an earache. You may like
Mhm.
bad dreams the night before. Have like you may be up half the night, but then like it goes on. You have to get to work. You have to get these kids where they need to be. So, but then I think sometimes because that weight is so heavy, maybe people say, "Oh, I wish I could be home." "Oh, you're so lucky you get to be home." And I think that's where the misconception creeps in because it's like, yes, I am very grateful that my kids and I do not have to rush out of the house every morning. So I see from your perspective, totally that's a blessing. But oh, no, no, no. It comes with its major challenges because then your home and your job are one and the same. And you feel like your world is so small and you're getting sucked into this 24/7 little box, and it comes with a lot of relationship growth with your partner because your partner's the one out of the house working.
Mhm.
So, for me and Jason, he's out and he's like, I'm working all day and I'm driving home and I just need like 5 minutes. And I'm like, well, buddy, you can't get 5 minutes because I never have 5 minutes, and it creates this kind of
There's
like
resentment.
competitive for
Mhm.
time thing, which
Mhm.
I had to be mindful of and be like, I had to kind of drop where I was and be like, "No, he's valid too. We're both valid, and if I can't see him as valid, that means I need a little bit of space right now
Mhm.
to, like, kinda come back with more clarity."
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
and so I think that misconception, if I could sum it up, is remembering that we all live life through our own little movie, our own little perception, our own little scenery, and I think the misconceptions develop through that.
Mhm.
If we can get out of our own way and tear that down and remember that the grass isn't greener literally on any sign, and if you were at home, then you may miss your free self that got to get a cup of coffee without the kids in the car,
Mhm.
that got to and I think when you just so badly want a day of rest or to be in your cozy jammies, you kind of forget what that would mean if you had kids around you all the time. And I think what these signals say to us is the working mom life and the stay-at-home mom life are both taxing in their own way, and when these signals come up in our brain that say, "Oh, you must have it easier." I think instead of listening to that narrative, we need to listen to more of the narrative like, "I think I need a break from
Yeah.
this marathon.
Mhm.
I think I may need to schedule some self-care in, and maybe this weekend, instead of doing a lot with the kids, maybe I say to my husband, I need 2 hours in bed. I need a bath." Like,
Mhm.
so I think when we hear those false narratives of like someone must have it better, I think that should be our new cue to be like, "What do I need?" I hope that answers that question.
100%.
Okay.
And I do feel like we answered it, and this is what I mean, like,
Mhm.
I ask questions, but we naturally just answer them,
Mhm.
like, through
Mhm.
conversation. The biggest misconception is, like, what I hear is they're both 2 full-time
Yes,
jobs,
exactly.
right? You're
Yes.
still a working mom, and I
Yes.
think that's the glorification of stay-at-home motherhood.
You are working. You
You're
are it's like working at a preschool or a daycare or being a teacher. You have 3
Yes,
children.
you are
Yes.
constantly on.
Mhm.
If I don't defend nap time,
Yes.
because that's my only moment that I get a break, and I still am a pretty much full-time working mom. I'm
Yeah.
still doing, like, the quasi stay at home, real estate's flexible, I'm
Yeah.
able to do a lot, and I, like, get so much done during nap time, but I also look forward to nap time because I get a break because I have a taste of what that stay-at-home motherhood is like,
Mhm.
and yes, getting out of the house, making sure your child has everything he needs, navigating the tantrums all day because we are in the thick of it,
Yeah.
and making sure that, they're taken care of, but also you're taken care of, and making sure that, the laundry's done and dinners are made and lunches are made and
Oh,
like,
all of it.
and
Yes.
and I always have you in the back of my mind. I remember a few times you said, "You know what? I'm not making dinner tonight. We are ordering takeout." And
Yeah.
I've ordered more takeout than I want to admit, but that's what works for me in this season of my
Ye
life right now, especially when you are in the throes of your third newborn. I get it and I respect it and I admire it and I've applied that and I give myself the grace when I need to. But I think that people underestimate how much of a full-time job stay-at-home motherhood is. And also, I think one thing that I also really want to celebrate about you and want to like put out there too is you even took it a step further and said, "I'm a stay-at-home mom and I still need some part-time nanny help.
Yes,
I
exactly.
need my Thursday.
Yeah.
My Thursday needs to be my day to go
Mhm.
out of the house, to go get that coffee,
Yeah.
to go write in my journal, to go to Wildflower, to go get a new piece of clothing
Yes.
because I may not have, quote unquote, anywhere to go, but I still want to feel good in my clothing. And I'm still
Exactly.
reinventing my closet.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be in my PJs all day. I actually envy the moms who get to step out and have a break from their
Yes, and
kids.
feel pretty and feel
Yeah.
like they're in their own skin and feel like that they've claimed a part of their own energy back.
Yeah.
That's
You
exactly
wanna
it.
have your identity. You
Because
still wanna be Cara. You
so
might be
much of
mom and
you
wife, but you're still
yes,
Cara.
exactly.
Yeah,
You're still Cara, like, you're still who you are, and so much of their little needs and, like, you just kinda feel like you're getting absorbed and sucked into their field.
I'm like,
So,
if I sing "Do You Know
yes.
the Muffin Man" one more time, I'm gonna,
Yes,
like,
or
blow a
here, twinkle,
gasket.
twinkle, little
Yeah,
star, or try, or even you I'm sure you understand when it comes to that time of day okay, perfect for stay-at-home moms. When it comes to that time of day and you're waiting for nap time and you're really looking forward to it, and you're like, "This is my time to"
and
you
they
may not get that
yeah,
because your kids may cause a fuss and a nap and a break for you may not be possible,
that
you
was my
know?
my
So
biggest struggle. Yeah,
then you're on literally all day, and then you might get the text that says, "Sorry, babe, stuck in traffic," and you're like, you know? So I think that's also tough too because you kinda I feel like when you're home, you kinda feel like you have to get the meals cooked, you have to do the laundry because 'cause you're home.
mhm,
Who else is gonna do it? But then you have to be the present mom, and the fun mom, and the mom that's a regulated mom. But then you kinda step back and you're like, "I" the 1950s was a lie. All those women were drinking their wine or taking their
smoking their
lithium
stoves.
to
Yeah,
get through their
mhm,
but because it's impossible. So,
yeah,
I think when you are at home and you notice all these things and it's starting to just crush you, exactly what you said. We're gonna order out a lot over these next 2 years possibly.
mhm,
I cannot make the homemade meals I want to make. And then we'll take it day by day. Maybe Nathan reaches a new awesome point in his development where he's like, "Mommy, can I help with actually wanting to make something?" And it's like, "Sure, join in." And now, "Oh, I have a little more flexibility here to make something a little more homemade," because the
yeah,
kids are developmentally ready for it, you know? And just you kinda just moving in and out of these day-to-day waves of what's realistic, what's not. And number 1, I know this is so much on me, so I need to come first before anything else can get done because we can't really get anything done with a clear head if we're always in a state of overwhelm.
yeah,
So I think being a stay-at-home mom kind of, like, helps you to, like, tear everything down and think to yourself, here's the state I'm in. Let me check in with me, get what I need, and then what's realistic to get done tonight.
yeah,
I'll throw in the kids' laundry. We will have a pepperoni cheese hummus plate for dinner with grapes. Nice and easy. Everyone can pick at it. And then we'll go outside and play.
mhm.
And that way it's like, oh, this is minimal. This makes sense. And I have support from dad now. So I think it's like every day, depending on how the kids are, how the day goes, how you feel, it's a day to day, moment by moment
It's
assessment, you
it's
know?
all so fleeting,
Yes.
and I think we forget that, and also we forget that everything is so temporary.
Yeah.
Phases and
Yeah.
stages are so temporary. So you might be ordering the takeout now, but in 3 weeks that might change. In 2
Mhm.
years, that's absolutely going to change.
Yeah.
And especially in the newborn phase, you're like, "Oh my god, this is gonna be my life forever. I'm
No,
dying. This
you
is it. What?"
do,
And
yeah.
you have the moment
Why
of
did I
like,
do this?
you're like, "What the" I
I'm so
remember sitting
dumb.
on the couch with Nick and I was like, "What did we do?" And
Mhm.
not the in like a regretful, but you're
Mm-mm.
like, "Oh my
It's
god, our
natural,
marriage is
though.
forever changed.
Yes,
I'm never gonna be able to
yes,
shower again without having raging
yes.
anxiety because 'cause I'm breastfeeding, and what if my child is he's nursing on demand? What if he gets hungry while I'm upstairs showering?" And you think back and you're like, "Oh my god, like, I didn't appreciate that everything is also fleeting."
And then you look back and you're like, "Oh, now we're here," and
Yeah, like, my kid is walking around
yeah.
and he can walk himself upstairs now, and I don't have to carry him to the car and stuff like
Mhm.
that, and it's just gonna keep evolving and evolving and growing and changing and
Yeah,
getting easier,
yeah,
but you gotta go through the hard first, but we forget that, like, it will get easier. You just
yes.
have to be in the hard for a few years.
You do, and I think, like, for the moms and for new moms, I think all of this can be so overwhelming because there are so many just like expectations we hold on ourselves outside from even like social media or anything. Like, we want to get like before we have these kids, we can get anything done that we want to get done. And we like our little
I
routines,
know
right?
that. What did I
Patterns.
do with all that
Yeah.
time?
Yeah. Right. And then you think you're
Like,
busy, but
what?
it's all relative, right?
Yeah,
But
100%.
we like routines. We like patterns. It keeps us safe. It keeps us sturdy. There's a structure to the day. But I get up and have my morning coffee. Then I'm going to throw the laundry in. And we have space to think about all that.
Mhm,
Where I feel like when you welcome your kid, all of a sudden you're flooded with new hormones. You're
mhm.
flooded with this like exhaustion. And nothing's really kind of working the same way as it used to. Hence why we have like, we're never going to get our lives back feeling. And it's so real. And I feel like that's what I think is so powerful when you step into motherhood and hearing all these mothers share this and how real it is, because then you can say to yourself, well, I know that when I was getting things done, I was in a much more freed up place.
Mhm,
So let me first like sit with like how loving I need to be with myself,
mhm.
that this is so new. And I think the top priority is like maybe nothing will get done today, but what will get done is I'll be cozy on the couch with my baby and kind to myself.
Yeah,
And maybe the practice now is learning kindness with the self, which I never got a chance to practice because I had the routine down. Now it's like practicing a slowness, a lovingness, a tenderness, a embodiment of like really feeling into what it means to be a mom, that the bodily sensations of giving, like
yeah.
so it's like a whole rewiring.
And, like, you're doing work. You laying
Mhm.
on the couch and, like, nurturing your
Yes.
baby is, like, that's a job.
Yes.
You are doing something.
Yes.
You don't need to be
Yes.
busy, busy, busy,
No,
busy. Nick
you
and
are
I joke,
doing
we're always like,
so
"Busy, busy,
much.
busy, busy."
Right,
Like, you don't need to
yes.
be busy, busy, busy all the time.
Yeah, and I think because of our culture, and I'm not, like, saying that this is wrong because it serves such a great purpose, but we are not really integrating as much of the feminine awareness of slow work,
Yeah.
of deep work,
Mhm.
of what it means to not be so hands-on, "Da, da, da, I accomplished all these
On the
tasks."
hamster wheel.
We're more or less, like, not seeing the embodiment of, like, the work of breastfeeding, and, like, if
Mhm,
a mom
mhm,
chooses that journey, just for whatever reason that makes her feel comfortable,
mhm,
maybe that's just she's like, "I know this is hard. I know that I'm going to have a lot of fluctuations. I know my baby's probably gonna be a little more attached, and regardless of that, I still want to do this."
mhm.
Well, then she's choosing a path that's gonna require way more slow work and patience
Patience.
than it's going to require, "Okay, we have this schedule, baby just ate, burp, lay down."
Mhm.
It's more like breastfed babies just operate a little bit differently. So it's like honoring that path as such hard work too, and not just seeing like, "Wow, she accomplished 10 things on our list today." It's like she may have only accomplished 2 things on her list, but her journey is just as powerful,
Yeah.
you know? Yeah.
So, what made you decide now is a good time to go back to work? Tell me more about your new opportunity as much as you want to share.
Mhm.
And how did you know that it was time for Cara to re-enter the education space?
That's a great question. So since I have 3 kids and I'm always tapped into their needs, Nathan's 5. So naturally, as a 5-year-old, he's just starting to say a little bit more than he did as a toddler and show more signs of wanting that social interaction with kids. If we go to any playground and every playground, Nathan is like, "Mommy, I want friends today. I don't really want to play with you today. I really want to find a group of friends." So it got me thinking, okay, like he definitely requires more of that social interaction now. And also, like him just being newly 5, I know how he's been operating the past 5 years with me. He gets a lot of downtime. He needs a lot of downtime. So he's requiring way more social interaction and also a lot of downtime. And that made me think like, oh, well, I'm also kind of getting a little more freedom with you wanting to be that way. And I'm kind of thinking, well, what can I do to get my hands back in the educational world a little bit? Because I
Mhm.
see, Nathan, you're ready for that. And I think I'm ready for that too, especially since I see Luke, and Luke's a little more independent because of Nathan. So all the kids are a little more independent because they come after the firstborn.
Mhm.
So I see this dynamic shifting with them. So I feel like it's always like a shift with the kids first, because if there's no shift with them, then I don't feel open enough to even think
There's,
about
like,
these
no
things.
impetus.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. Where now there's like an
Mhm.
opening. So then I thought to myself, okay, like, well, what am I yearning for as a mom? What have I been yearning for? And what I've been really yearning for is that intimate sense of community connection. I don't want to always do this same thing alone and go into like another season, because I've been doing it for 5 years, the same thing,
Mhm.
but welcoming
You're
new
like
babies,
rinse,
being
repeat.
postpartum,
Mhm.
pregnant. Like, I'm ready now. I won't be pregnant. I won't be postpartum this year, but I'm ready to now step into more of that community feel. And I think I need more of that because it keeps me mentally well. Like, that's something that now that I learned more about myself and went deeper inward, I learned I love intimacy. I love chatting. I love adult interaction. I love seeing my kids
Gives
interact
you
with other kids.
energy.
It,
Yeah.
it, it fills me
Connection
up,
gives you
even if I'm
energy.
with other
Mhm.
people. Exactly. If it's true, authentic connection, that's an
Mhm.
energy filler for me,
Mhm.
you know? So there was all those layers. And then I was like, you know what? This may be a good time to look into how to get back.
Mhm.
But I also knew, well, the place I need to go has to be very much nature oriented. I love whimsy, anything whimsical, Cara's Cottage, like all of those beautiful outdoorsy, Miss Honey from Matilda vibes
Mhm.
is like, what I feel would be best for me and for my kids, because
Yeah.
it's a more gentle setting and not so much indoors. And so I took them to the park the one day, and I drove past this really pretty nature center, and I turned in and I saw Penny Pack Preschool, and I was like, oh my gosh, there's a preschool back here. And it looks like something from a storybook. So I said, what are the odds that they have an opening? And they didn't. So I was like, okay, we'll try again for next year. And then I went on Facebook 2 days later, and I see they made a post and it says, hey, we're looking for an afternoon teacher from 12 to 2:30. And I was like, hmm,
That sounds actually
yes,
perfect.
that
Yeah.
sounds very 2 hours, afternoon teacher, but I have 3 kids. So I made the phone call and said, hi, I'm a stay-at-home mom currently, but I love your preschool. I think it's just got all the things that
It
really
embodies
resonate
everything that
with
I'm
me,
chasing.
everything I'm
Yeah.
chasing. And so instantly and effortlessly, yeah, come on in, let's have a chat.
Mhm.
It was the most easy peasy, effortless interaction. These women are all in their late 50s, 60s. They have so much experience with young kids. They're so soft and gentle with mothers. They get it. And this podcast, I feel like this is such a good point to turn to because they embody everything we've talked about. They understand, they see it. And so just sitting with me and talking with me, I felt instantly like no mask is on. I'm literally just me at this point in time. I'm not putting on like, oh, the back to work mask on. I need to be
Well,
professional,
there's no
Kara, now.
pressure for you to even
Exactly.
do
There was none of
this.
that. There was
Yeah.
none of like,
You're like, "I'm
let me
curious."
be this, like, teacher-esque version of me. It's like, no, let me just be Kara, and
Mhm.
if this flows and this works, and it did, and it was smooth, and it was beautiful, and they were so kind, and they were like, bring your kids. We're flexible. Let's just see how this goes. We are
Mhm.
totally open to this experience, and we will navigate it day by day."
Mhm.
And to just hear that, I was like,
That's support.
oh, that support, I knew instantly, this is it. Because that, to me, that understanding alone of like, we're going to navigate it day by day. Like, there was no like, let me look, now you have 3 kids. This isn't going to work for us. Like, it was
You
just
didn't disqualify
so,
yourself. Yeah.
no. And that's something when you're trying to prove yourself, you kind of like hide those parts of yourself that you have to be real about. And then comes down the line, you're in a situation where like, now I have to be real about it, and they didn't know, where I felt like there was no hiding, there was no shame, there was like, this is what I'm kinda going for, and if you're into it, I'm into it, and it worked out. And then I went on vacation and I was telling my parents, like, oh, I got the job. I'm so excited. It's beautiful. It's like Miss Honey from Matilda.
Mhm.
And then I get a text and it's one of the teachers that's like, hey, coincidentally, a morning spot opened. Would you like one of your kids to take the morning spot? So now Nathan gets to go
Mhm.
independently, which
Yeah.
kind of talked about earlier how he needed that interaction.
Mhm.
He gets to go independently for a couple hours and then we'll meet him there. And I just feel like everything is falling into place in a way where there's minimal effort, there's minimal exhaustion, it's all feeding my soul,
Mhm.
you know? And I'm like, "Ooh, this feels good. I love this. I love that things are just popping up unexpectedly that are so beneficial to my life." And I think it's because I was so reflective the whole time throughout the past 5 years, so in tune with myself, so, admitting and accountable and self-forgiving of my entire experience as it is. I think when we do that, we bring to us what's meant for us to soothe us.
Yeah.
So I really do believe in the magic of the universe, God,
Mhm.
and that when we are seen in our human experiences, in our vulnerability, in our authenticity, that creates so much magic behind the scenes that we can't see until it's time.
Mhm. I'm getting chills now because everything that we've talked about this entire podcast and your beautiful summary and just the series of events and life and journey through motherhood, it's just all of it's such a crescendo for this beautiful ending, right? And I can't
Mhm.
wait. We're gonna have to do a follow-up episode, right?
Oh,
To like hear how
yeah.
it's all going, checking in with yourself. Let's
Uh-huh.
see like, really where you're at. But I think one of my favorite sayings that one of my mentors a few years ago shared, and I still carry with me till this day, is preparation met opportunity. And
Mhm.
you were just so
Ooh.
deeply prepared for this opportunity that, of course, it felt effortless.
Mhm.
Of course, it felt serendipitous. Of course, it felt like the universe just answered all of my questions. And, right, like the timing of it is impeccable. And it's just simply because you were prepared and the opportunity presented itself. And kudos to you. You picked up the phone and you made a phone call. Nobody does that anymore, right? You didn't slide in their DMs, which no shade on that. But like,
No.
right? It's like an
Yes.
old school way, and I think, like, they responded to that too, and you were just so effortlessly yourself, and I don't know, I'm just really proud of you, and
Thank
that was just,
you.
like, such a beautiful ending to this entire
I do
conversation,
too.
right?
I feel like it encompassed the journey
Yeah.
of rupture and repair and
Yeah.
just alchemizing the stuff that needs to be muddled through to get to this point where you're like, "Oh, something magical fell into my lap."
Yeah. But also stay-at-home motherhood.
Yes,
You've
yep,
been there, you tried that, and you
yes.
decided that's not all that I am.
Yeah,
And I'm ready to bring many more elements of Cara back
back.
into,
Yep,
the day to day, the routine, the
yes,
rituals that
exactly.
you've done a little bit more
That
quietly.
give me
Let's do
more
them a little bit
balance.
more publicly and
Yeah.
loudly and like continue on. I mean, because you spent so many years in education, getting your master's to
Mhm.
put it on hold. And I know that we didn't tap into that fully, but there was a lot of, am I doing the right thing? I worked
Yes.
so hard on that. How am I choosing this road of stay-at-home motherhood when I just poured all of that time and money into
Mhm.
my education? You can press the power pause, right?
Yes.
And come back to it. And if you don't, that's okay too. There truly is no like right or wrong part of
No,
this journey. But I
never.
think I just really love hearing yours because it's just such a good reflection and a learning journey for me too, because I question my place in my work every single day.
Mhm.
Right. But I decided too that having an identity outside of my home is really important to me
Yes.
too. And the duality. And I can have
Mhm.
both and I can still be both. And even if one thing needs to be put on the back burner or
Mhm.
I'm doing something at 70% instead of 100%, that's okay.
Yep.
And that can change daily too,
Exactly.
right?
Moment by moment check-ins and moment by moment assessments of what we value and what we need.
Yeah.
Yes. I think it's all flexible. I think
Mhm.
that's what the lesson to me in this life is flow,
Yeah.
and getting out of our own way and more or less being like, okay, here's what's happening now. Which direction do I want to move? Because it's what needs to be done or it's what's best for me
Yeah.
right now and
Remove
my
the fucking
family. Yes,
pressures, the
remove,
societal pressures,
right.
the
Yes.
personal
Take all
pressures.
that off.
Yeah. What matters
Yes,
to you at the end of the day, not what
exactly.
everybody else expects of you. It's what
Yes,
you expect of you.
yes,
And that's really what matters.
yes, exactly. Exactly. So I think this whole thing was beautiful. I'm so
Oh,
happy that we got into the flow state and could have this amazing conversation because, when you're being recorded, you are like a little jittery. But once we fell right into Brittany and Cara, I felt like I could really just share what
this is
was on my
this is
heart and
Brittany's
mind.
cottage.
I know this is Brittany's cottage. I love it so much. And I'm so thankful that you are who you are because you
Oh,
have blessed my life with more than I have words to say. And
you're
I'm
gonna make
just
me cry again.
so,
Don't
no,
do
I'm
that.
grateful that we're traveling through this together.
Me
It's
too.
so important. Cheers to
Cheers.
motherhood and learning together.
That's right.
I love you.
Love you.